Hi everyone, it's Rachel and Anthony.
Hello.
From Don't Crop Me Now. Today we have the exciting job of moving this delivery of black gold. It looks really good quality, well rotted compost, and we're going to move it into our new compost areas and stack this, which we'll probably put in the beds either late winter or spring. Because it's a new supplier, we will do the bean test to make sure there's no weed killer issues. But this supplier regularly delivers to other allotment sites, so any problems are very unlikely, but it's always important just to make sure.
So we've been going for just over an hour. I don't know how many wheelbarrows we've moved, quite a few. It's not too bad at this side, it's time consuming at the other side because we've got to stack it in the manure cubes where we're storing it. Falls out front, we've got to get it to a certain point that we can put a pallet across the front and then throw it over the top. What I'm trying to do is go around the perimeter of the tarpaulin, partly so I can see where the edges are and it's not on the grass or on the flower beds where it's spilled over a little bit, and also we've got plenty of time. We've got all weekend to sort this out. It's currently Friday morning, we've got Saturday, Sunday to do this, so we're not pressed for time there. What we are racing against is the inevitable rubbish Manchester weather.
So as Anthony was explaining, it's quite difficult to stack at this end because, as you can imagine, manure is quite crumbling. It does not just want to be packed in a cube. So we do obviously need fronts on these compost bins, and we haven't got round to having the time to get the timber and to build the fronts. So I'm just using these pallets as a temporary thing so we can stack the manure in better, because really we want to fill these two cubes up as much as we can to minimise how much we have to put onto one bed before we've had a chance to test this manure for weed killer problems. I've added this wire section on the front just to keep the manure in because at the moment it's so crumbly. What we will do then is build the slatted fronts onto the front of this, and once they're on we can take this out with the manure in situ, hopefully. Once it settles, it will pretty much sit as a cube, certainly for us taking something out and just putting slats straight in. So that's the plan. The reason why I don't want to leave this as the front permanently is it's very heavy to move those pallets, and if you want to access and just take a little bit out, it's so much easier if you've got a slatted front. You can just take a few boards out. So that's why we want a proper slatted front really, rather than leaving this, which, you know, will do the job. It will keep it in a cube. This is the 2-hour time mark and we're still going. There's still a lot left. Let's have a look how much is in the compost bins now. So this first cube is probably about 80% full. I think we'll get another 6 barrows perhaps in there. And this one is as much as we can realistically get in before putting that front on. Now the two bins are just about full, still a bit more that can go in the right one. They are about 4 foot by 4 foot cube, so it's a reasonable volume, but we still have quite a bit left to move, and that's gonna have to happen on Saturday. So it's about 1:30ish, and that's all the moving we're going to do today. We think we moved just over half of it if you compare it from what it looked like earlier, but it's now we need a bit of a rest and we'll come back and move the rest tomorrow. It's day 2 and we've come back to move the rest of this manure. It's been raining a lot overnight, so it's really wet. You can see that water that's just running off into Rob's flower bed, which is great. A bit of extra fertilizers for him on this edge of the flower bed. So we'll see how we get on because the paths themselves are quite wet, but we've got a system now, so fingers crossed it will be easier to move this second half. It's now 1 o'clock on Saturday and the 2 manure storage bins are definitely full, so we've started stacking it here, and this is how much we've got left to move. So it's 2:30 and we're now on the last couple of shovels full of the manure. Anthony seems quite pleased about that fact.
Yay!
So here is the main storage. So as you can see, they're really full. I couldn't really pile up any more here without having a front on it. So we then had to proceed to putting it on a few of the beds. So if we do find we have any problems, which is really unlikely, I'll have to plant something here that's not very susceptible. So as you can see, we've topped the bed there. It's not been spread out. I'm just going to let it dry out a little bit before I spread it. We put another bed there, so it should be enough to cover that bed. We use a no-dig method, so we'll use this as our mulch. And then I put the last few barrows onto the rhubarb, and that should love it. So there's Anthony. He's certainly had enough and thinks we should go home now. All covered up and weighted down. So obviously it's got the compost on the front, it's been pegged down on the back, and it's been zip tied all the way around the edge to the structure, so it should be pretty secure.